welcome to Money Hangout once again. Every week we talk about something which is very important thing for you or something which is a burning issue. Try and help you understand mutual funds better and try and answer your questions. This is brought to you by Birla Sun Life Mutual Fund and Value Research. Today we are going to talk about something which is very basic. A must-do list for investors. Before you invest, you need to really think about this and be careful about it, be meticulous about it, because our savings, our investments are going to outlive us. So it needs to be, you need to do the essential things before making this investment, and be very clear about these things. Everybody has a checklist. The airline pilots have a checklist. The doctors have a checklist, and these are important things. These are hygiene issues. They make sure that the intended goal of making an investment and what the eventual purpose of that will be achieved. And we spend a lot of time thinking about which is the right kind of fund, which is it the best fund, should we be making changes, but there is something more basic, which many a times creates a lot of heartburn. It creates a lot of difficulty for all your investments get stuck sometimes. So I'm going to talk about 5 things which every investor should worry about and should be very meticulous and careful about these things. One is that before you make an investment, you must ensure that you have nominee, and you can have nominees of for various investments. For different investment you can have different nominees. You can have as many nominees as you want, and you can also assign the proportion. So if there is an investment which is worth 10 lakh rupees and you want your investment to be the successors of these investment should get it in a certain proportion, you can well assign that somebody will get 30% of it, another person will get 30% of it, and the third person will get 40% of it. So you can predefine these nominations, and while making this investment you should be little careful about it and make sure that you have it. Today we find that there are a lot of investments which might be orphan investments which were made, and people who have lost track, and those investments are lying, and not having a nomination creates problem, because then you have to go about proving that you are the heir of that investment. You are the rightful successor of these investments, whosoever is the successor. So that's a problem. Preempt that. Digitize. Today it is possible to derive lot of privileges, lot of benefits if you are making an investment and you give your mail ID. All the registrars collate all your investments by a single mail ID. Of course you need to be careful about your PAN number and other things, because making a correction of all this becomes difficult. But I think being sure of a mail ID which you will retain for a long time in future, and you will continue to use it. Many a times we feel that you're working in a company, you give your company's mail ID and you have changed your job, and then that mail ID becomes inaccessible to you, and all the information might be coming there, and then you have to go. Of course there's a procedure of requesting, asking the registrars to change your mail ID, but then that is a physical procedure. You have to really sign a paper that this is your investment, these are your folios, this was your earlier mail ID, or there was no mail ID when you made the investment, and this is going to be your mail ID. But being careful about your mail ID, you will be able to get all your account statement at one place. This will help you. Even today there are features, there are facilities available from the registrars where, by giving your mail ID, and if it is consistent across all the investment that you have made across various fund companies, all your investments get centralized at one place. You get a single account statement on that mail ID. In fact, the NSDL, if you have a demat account, things get collated by the PAN number, but having a uniform mail ID. So be careful about your mail ID. And once you get your mail ID, you get a single account statement. Even Value Research will be very useful to you, because you can upload your single account statement, and you can track all your investments in Value Research Portfolio Manager. You don't even have to type your investments individually. Keep your contact details updated. This is very basic. but you will stop getting all the communication. So if you are meticulous about your mail ID, then I think most of the interaction, most of the communication happening from the fund companies through the registrars comes on mail ID. But despite that, any physical communication can come, so make sure that you have your address handy. Updating your bank account. Over course of our financial life, we have multiple bank accounts, and while making a investment, whatever bank account we specify, which is specifying a bank account is mandatory for making an investment in a mutual fund, and you get all your redemption proceeds or any interim payout there. So it's important that you do that. Keeping your contact details is very important, because today, nearly in the absence of these contact details, in the absence of the right address of these individuals, nearly 500 crore rupee is lying with mutual funds, which is unclaimed. The unclaimed redemption proceeds and dividends from mutual fund aggregates to 500 crore, which is a lot of money, and that is, that could be all of us, the money which has redeemed, or the dividend which was paid or attempted to be paid but was not delivered to the person. This is all a legacy, because it was all in from the past, because of late, for last 8-10 years, providing your bank statement, providing your bank account number is mandatory, and all these redemption proceeds and dividends straightway come to your bank account directly without any physical intervention. But earlier, when we used to get the dividend warrants and the redemption warrants, that money is still lying unclaimed, and that is 500 crores. So this is a lesson for you. Make sure that your bank account is updated. If you change your bank account, or if you close your bank account, you should immediately get this change affected in your account, in your investments. And try and keep it simple. Have a single bank account linked to these investments, so that things are streamlined and simplified, and you don't have to worry much about it. Make sure that you keep that bank account live for a lifetime. This will also simplify all your investments in future. You will reduce your paperwork substantially. Then comes, the important thing is, these investments, as they are going to outlive you, if you do it well, if you are listening to us, and if you are careful about it, and if you are disciplined and meticulous, you are very likely to have substantially more than what you will consume. And it should naturally reach the people. It should end up with being people if you are not around. So after you make sure that, of course, once you have made sure that your nominees are aware of it, but how will they access it if they are not aware of it? So inform the people whom you would like, make sure that your dependents, or whosoever be the beneficiary, they are aware of these investments, and at least be aware of it, so that if the need arises, they can access that. Because having made these investments, and which are, people may not be aware of it. Physical assets, people are aware that this is the house, this is the physical thing, this is the car, but this is something which will be invisible. So they being aware is extremely important, and explaining the relevant people about all the details about the scale of investment, or how to access it, or what is the objective, or the intended purpose. So just nomination won't help. They being aware is just as important. And then comes, make sure that you are keeping track of all the communication. Sometimes you get online, we develop a fatigue. We get a mail, and we just hit on the delete button if it is a cumbersome long legal document which is trying to explain you something. And because we get too many mails, we have this tendency only gaining strength. So don't hit the delete button the moment you get an official mail. Create a folder, or create a label in your Gmail account, so that all these information remain there. Sometimes they are important information. If a fund changes its mandate, or if a fund is actually has stopped taking money, or if some rules or some regulations or something has changed, you are being told, and then you should read it carefully. You should make sure that you are acting on it. You don't have to necessarily act on it, but being aware of it is just as important. Sometimes they actually throw a question, they prompt you to ask those questions to us if you think we could be of any help. So make sure that you are keeping a trail of all the mails that you get from this. So just to summarize, uh, you should be doing these 5 things irrespective of what investments you make, with what objective, with what risk tolerance. Have a nominee. Make sure that you are giving a consistent email ID. Having a mail ID will ensure that you have all your things which can be collated at one place. It can all be combined and synchronized. Keep your contact details and bank account updated at all times with all your investments. Otherwise, you will not be a quick beneficiary of anything, all the investments. Whenever you need the redemption, you will have to go through a whole procedure of updating these before you get your money back. Make sure that the people for whom these investments are, who should eventually get it if you are not around, they are aware of these investments, and keep your emails carefully.